Welcome back. So this is the what I call the autonomic nervous system. That's the ANS balance breath. I'll explain why I call it that in a minute. But its traditional name, its traditional yogic name is Kapalabhati. Kapalabhati, okay, which means shining skull. Shining skull. So we're going to have a little bit of a look at this practice. And again, you noticed I'm teaching in a very systematic way. So we're going through a progression. And Kapalabhati is now no longer a calming, soothing breath, but it's stepping into the domain of energizing breath. If we do it badly, it's an activating breath. You'll feel activated and slightly wired. So I'm going to teach you how to do it well, and really listen to your body. And I will clarify all the points necessary for you to pay attention to make sure you do it well. Great. So first things first, we're going to bring your hands onto your belly here. We've done some of this belly breathing. We've done a lot of that so far, so we've got a good basis from which to progress. In-breath, breathe into your belly, make it like a balloon. Now you have to let go of any fashion here. There's a lot of fashion around human bodies, Human bodies are supposed to be kind of pumped the whole time and flat-tummied and like this kind of thing, That's mostly fashion nonsense. Human body doesn't work like that. When the muscles are released, they're like rubber. When they're on, they're strong and they're switched on, and they need to be able to move from that engagement into that release and relaxation. And we want the same for the belly muscles. If you have a fashion of tightening those up and squeezing them in and trying to create that kind of six-pack type thing like that, you can't breathe properly. Try and breathe there. Not possible. So you can't do conscious breath work if you're doing that. If you get that muscular strength and open up the system as well into a back bend, fair play. You've got strength and flexibility. But if you haven't got those two running, it makes it very complicated to do any kind of conscious breath work, and you can't regulate your system properly. So it makes it very complicated. All right, so fashions aside, we don't want a flat belly here. We want a nice round belly here, So it's rubbery, like this. Yeah, great. Right, so got that. And on the out breath, we're going to switch those muscles on, just like we did here. Release, energize. So they become active, energized. So the same here. And engagement, energization, release. And the release is really important. You want to feel the release. You want to feel inside the muscles and make sure all those fibers of muscles are switched on. Nothing left out. So you're not keeping a little bit of tension in there. Now, oftentimes people struggle to feel into the breath like this. They struggle to feel into what relaxation is because they're so stressed. So give yourself that extra bit of time on the in-breath to really soften that belly. And out-breath. Everybody knows how to be active, just about. Very few people know what it's like to do deep, embodied relaxation. Feel it there. And out-breath. The out-breath is, and the in-breath is, and the in-breath is twice as long as the out-breath. Okay? So take your time. Listen to your body. This is about listening to your body. It's not about doing a number of breaths at a particular speed. So if somebody tells you to do it like, that's going to be an activating breath that's going to wire you up because you're not relaxing properly. The balance in this is because you've got that engagement right next to the full relaxation. That's the engagement right next to the full, sweet relaxation of that release. And that needs to be felt. So it's a feeling that you're looking for. The feeling of engagement and the feeling of release and relaxation. And you're cultivating that feeling-based distinction in your mind. So it's not about the number of breaths you do. It's not about how fast you do it. It's about what you're feeling when you're doing it, and you do the right number of breaths. So when people begin to do this practice, I say do up to 30 breaths. But if after 9 breaths you can't feel the distinction anymore, that means your muscles are a bit tired and they're not used to it. Yeah? So you're going to simply from there, relax, end the practice at that point. Now, I get people to do between 3 and 5 rounds of this in the morning. This is a morning practice that has to be done before you eat. Yeah? It's a switching on practice. So when we get this pumping like this, it's training the transverse abdominals, these muscles here. Because people don't squat, a lot of people have very weak transverse abdominals. So it's training those muscles. If you find it difficult to feel that engagement, then squeeze them a little bit more on the out breath. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then release, 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 release. Out breath, squeeze. Take a bit longer over that. Yeah? Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then release, 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 release. You're feeling into your system. Take your time to feel it. Doesn't have to be fast. Oftentimes with awareness, mindful practice is better to begin with. You begin with mindful awareness of the movements, and then the power develops through practice, through daily practice. You get the idea? Lovely. So that's you don't have to have your hands there. You can rest your hands here if you want to. In a mudra. We've talked about the mudras. It's fantastic. So up to 30 breaths like that. If you're a regular practitioner of this, if you've worked with me and you're a regular practitioner of this, you can do more. But to begin with, I wouldn't do more than 30. Take your time. Feel into it. 30 is fine. Okay. So this is the breath. And of course, as you're doing this breath, the cerebrospinal fluid is moving around the spinal cord, pumping it up around the brain, switching that brain on in the morning. After you've got out of bed, you do this practice before you eat, and it's switching on your nervous system ready for the day. And you certainly don't have a coffee before you do this practice. No coffee, no tea, before you do this practice. You can have water, but no coffee, no tea. Awesome. Enjoy the practice.